Hey everyone, welcome to History Forge. My name is Taylor Hamlin. I'm going to be working on a strategy today, the race strategy. I'm going to be focusing on the C part of the race strategy, and I'll actually show you what that is. So right here you can see, I think, here we are. It says race strategy, and the C stands for citing, which I always tell students really also should stand for just evidence, which is super confusing because the next letter is E, and they think that means evidence. So we might need a new acronym, but for the most part, just remember that citing means that you are citing some kind of evidence. You are finding a quote, you're finding a paraphrase, maybe you're just making an observation. I just did a lecture about primary sources that are paintings. So if this painting was your, the thing that you had to do, then obviously you can't quote it because there's no quote. You would have to make observations of it and then use those observations as your citing sources or citing evidence. But in this case, we are using the book today. I'm going to be, whoa, what happened? Yes, please don't go away. Okay, we are going to be using this today, this book, to answer this question right here. It says, a meeting in Philadelphia, the delegates vote the colonial militias. If you're my students, you know that these are the section titles of your book. If you're a teacher, or student, or parent watching this, most books have section titles, so definitely use them to your advantage if you're going to be using them. Also include the page numbers, so if you're in my class again, you know which page number this would be. And this is the question. These are kind of questions I ask normally. So, for example, what were the different ways colonists used to rebel? And then what do you think was the most important way? What evidence could you use to prove your opinion? So we have a lot of different things it's asking us, especially like what kind of evidence could you use to prove your opinion. So this really goes into that race strategy, finding evidence. I've also written down 7 different ways to start a sentence that goes into what that would look like. So, I think a lot of times people get so hung up on like how to start a sentence. These are 7 different ways you could write a sentence. So if you're having a hard time with this, maybe write these in your notes. We've gone over them before in my class, but if you don't remember, write them down. If you're another teacher or student writing these or watching this, write these down. They are going to be super helpful in getting a sentence started and then just finding evidence to use it, okay? So, just getting into it. We have here the very first one, or actually, we should answer the question first. So what were the different ways colonists used to rebel? So I'm going to just go ahead and answer that question. So a meeting in Philadelphia. In September 1774, 55 delegates gathered in Philadelphia. They had come to set up a political body that would represent Americans and challenge British control. Boom, right off the bat. We are delegates. I can't spell things. Delegates are meeting to decide how they can, I'll even use the exact words, challenge British control. Okay, that's my answer. I didn't use POQ because I can actually use part of a question too, like a good race strategy. So I could say some of the different ways that colonists used to rebel are our delegates were meeting, so it's past tense, were meeting to decide how they could challenge British control. So that's me using good POQ. That first part of the race strategy is restate and answer. So I am restating the question in my answer, and I'm answering the question. First part done. If you were my students, you would now have 50% of your points. The next part is the next quarter. So if you did this next part, you'd have 3 out of 4, right? We just need to find some evidence to back ourselves up. So we could use some of these 7 different ways. And in fact, what I'll do is I'm just going to write them down here. So I'm going to say the author of, I can say the section, A Meeting in Philadelphia, as you can see right here. That's the section title. So I could say the author of the section, and I'm going to put it in quotes, the meeting in Philadelphia stated that, and then I would use the quote, right? I would literally word for word take it. So I'm just going to take this quote, copy it, paste it, just like that. Done. So if you did this, this would now be 3 out of 4 for me. And if you're writing research papers, if you're doing anything, this would be a good way of doing it. There's other ways you could say. You don't need to even mention the author. Like sometimes mentioning the author for a textbook is kind of weird because there is no author really. So you could say according to the textbook. You could say like according to the classroom textbook. quote, done, done. I don't personally like this way as much because I think there's more information you can use. So we'll get into more of that later. Because honestly, a lot of these, if they're combined together, should be good. Like if you said according to the classroom textbook on page, blah, blah, blah. I don't think this has a page number on the line. It doesn't. But we know the page number because of the question. So if we said something like on page 120, the author stated, quote, done. See how easy this is? Like all you literally have to do is copy and paste. Now, if you can go beyond that, that'd be good. But for the most part, bare bones, this is all you have to do. Let's do a paraphrase now. So we did a bunch of quoting, so I can even highlight the ones here so you can see them. These are all the quotes that we did. It's all the same quote. Let's do a paraphrase now. So remember, a paraphrase is just us taking something complicated and making it more simple. So a detail from the text that supports this is, and we're going to use the exact same quote. How about that? We're going to paraphrase the exact same quote because honestly, the exact same quote uses language we can fix. So for example, see how it says they at the beginning? Who is they? So we can say a detail from the textbook supports that. A detail from the text that supports this is colonists. So again, I'm replacing the word they with colonists colonists created a political body that challenged the British government's taxes. You see how I'm paraphrasing? I'm taking certain words away from this first one. If you're not sure what I'm doing, I'm using this first sentence right here that I'm highlighting right now with my mouse. And all I did was paraphrase it. I added detail. Instead of saying they, I said colonists. I got rid of some words and I added some things. I made it more clear what I'm talking about. And that's really all you want to do, okay? And you can use the others if you want. Honestly, they're basically the same thing. But for the most part, it's all pretty cut and dry and simple. So just use one of these 7. If you're in my classroom, we have the green sheets that are taped down to our desks. If you're not my class or if you're just a teacher, copy these down, put them someplace, put them in a notebook, keep them. I don't think it's a problem having these on you even when you take a test because it just reminds you like, oh yeah, I should write down evidence. So keep this as a strategy. It'll really help you. It really should work. And if you have any questions, please let me know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you're my students, you can go away now. If you're a teacher, student, and parent, or anybody else who was watching these videos and you want more advice, if you want help, if you have questions, if you have any way to make these videos better, please let me know. You can email me. You can make a comment on the video. Including the video, I have video descriptions. And so I write social media and docs and stuff on there that give me my resources. So if you want to check out that stuff too, you can. I do post other videos about primary source analysis and just lectures that I do. So feel free to check them out. They're supposed to be resources for teachers. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for stopping by. Have a great day. Take care.